Good evening, you lot. Hope you're all fine and dandy. I was looking absolutely everywhere for the little tool that gets the old cassette off on here. Can't blimmin' find it anywhere. One thing I hate doing is buying more tools when I've already got them. I know I've already got them, but I think what I've done is I had a little sort out a while ago and I put a few toolboxes in a different place, quite a way away from here, and I reckon that must be in there. So I've just got back from the shop and I've been and bought more. I got the cheapest ones I could find this time, because the ones I had before, they were like a pair of mole grips that grabbed onto the cassette itself. Really good, easy to use. But this time, I've got the chain version. They're going to come in handy for something anyway, and if they're no good, I can just give them to someone else. But that means I can get the back wheel sorted out properly. It's all rideable. All I'm waiting for is some grips, and I've still got to change that tyre around. But let's just get this done. I can't wait to get this built and give it a blooming ride. I don't know about you lot. Well, I dare say you lot don't give an uncle's monkey because you're not the one riding it. But I am, and I can't wait. Now, all I've got to do to sort the rubbing out is move the caliper about. I'll do that in a second. Let's have a little look at the gears. Is that the one we want? No. No, it's not. The one we want is this side. It seems to be working. That's one. Alright, well, one behind. 3 is 2. 4 is 3. 5 is 4. 6 is 5. 7 is 7. So we miss out 6. And 8 is 8. Alright. Need to have a little play around with the derailleur, but we'll get there with that. Let's tighten up the crank again because I have to take it off to play around with that. And then I can move that caliper, get it so it doesn't rub, and then we're pretty much all there. Happy days. Right. What do we need? We need a set of Allen keys. All I need to do is adjust the position on this caliper, because at the moment it's rubbing on the disc. So just by not that one. Just by loosening that and loosening that one, these have got elongated holes. And we should they're going to rub a little bit because the pads have got to wear in, and so has the disc got to wear in a little bit. It's all got to wear a little bit, so it will rub a little bit, but hopefully not quite as bad as it was. So it's a little bit, but personally I'm happy with that. I'm just going to get a rag with a bit of brake cleaner on it, just to get any oil I've just might have put for my hands perhaps. I tried not to touch the disc or anything, but the last thing I want is oil contaminating my new pads on my new Trying to find a clean rag around is blooming difficult. I've just been nicked a dishcloth out of the kitchen, so I use that instead. A bit oily, but don't ask me what the missus has been doing with it, because I ain't got a clue. Why are your dishcloths oily? I don't know. And do this with the front one as well. Really, when you get a new set of discs, you should rub them down with brake cleaner anyway. Whether that's a car, bike, because they'll have a bit of oil on them from being made in the factory when they're machined or stamped or whatever happens to them. Oh. Chain rubs on the tyre a little bit. That's a bit annoying. Might better sort that out in a minute. A bit of an uneven tyre, that's alright. The reason why it's quite important to rub down any new discs with, really I should have done it before I put them on and before I even let the pads go anywhere near these discs, I should have rubbed them down with a bit of brake cleaner. And that's because any oil will soak into the pads. That's with real cars, you know, you need to be careful with it, because if the oil soaks into them pads, they won't work as well obviously because they'll be oiled up. With a bike and that, you'll find that you squeeze the brake as hard as you want and it won't really do a lot, and it'll probably squeak. If your brakes are squeaking, that's probably because there's oil on them. There's probably oil on your pads or on your rims if you've got, well, I call them horseshoe brakes, but I think they've got a proper name, but I call them horseshoe brakes because they look like a blooming horseshoe, but I think they're called U brakes or some rubbish. But this one's got a little bit of a rub. Let's go and get the old Allen keys out. To me, there's nothing more satisfying than getting something to work properly. There's nothing more satisfying. Seems like the blooming disc's a bit warped on this one. It is. Got a blooming warped disc somehow. I might have to take the bolts out and redo them. That might be part of the problem. But we've definitely got a warped disc. What I'll be doing, if I can't sort it out, I'll just take it back and they'll have to give me a new one. We'll see how it goes. Quite often when I'm in here and I'm working on stuff, whether it be an RC car, whether it be an engine for something or a push bike, I'll think about things, you know. Just things, and I think to myself, why is the world so completely loopy, you know? Why is it? One of the latest things that I was thinking about is, you know, like when what goes around in school and that, when if a kid has something and all the other children don't, or some of the other children don't. Let's just use for an example, if a kid ends up with a brand new bike, quite an expensive brand new bike, right? All their friends, or some of their friends, classmates, etc., whatever, take the mickey out of them, you know. Oh, mummy and daddy bought that, or if they're in college or whatever, mummy and daddy bought that, the bank of mum and dad and all that stuff, right? Well, the thing is, that's why the mum and dad had the children. That's why you have children, isn't it? For me as a parent, I know at the very least, that's why you have children. To give them stuff, to buy them stuff. And all the other children, they only take the mickey because they're jealous. That's the reason. And it happens with adults. And this is why I think it's mad. The world, the people, humanity is completely loopy. Because even as an adult in the adult world, as you well know probably, if someone has something, even as like a college kid or whatever, you get a new car or a newer car, or the bank of mum and dad, daddy must have bought that, daddy bought that, and it goes round, doesn't it, you know. Why can't they just go, oh, that's a cracking car you got there, John. Very nice. Where'd you get that from? And if they turn around, you know, if they turn around and say, oh, well, mum and dad helped me get it. Great, you know. But I can't get my head around jealousy. I just can't get my blooming head around it. And you know what got me thinking about that earlier today was where I'm working. You know, in the industry that I'm in, there's all different types of people, all different backgrounds, all different whatever. And there's a few of them that ended up, they've got quite nice cars. And the ones that can't afford all that are always like, oh, why have they got a car like that? Why have they got that? There's no need for that, there's no need for that. Rather than just going, oh, Johnny boy over there's got a cracking car. Well done to him. Well done, well done. Jealousy, man. It's one of the world's most awful emotions. But me being me, I just can't get me blooming head around that type of thing. And envy's another one. You can say I'm envious of that, and it's a flippant comment, a flippant remark. I'm envious of Jason down the road. He's got a nice car and a nice house. That's a flippant comment. But when people are they actually are envious to the point where it makes them want to destroy other people's stuff just because they haven't got that. Because they haven't got it, other people can't have it. It's mad, isn't it? Absolutely ludicrous, the world. But the thing is, right, and here's what you've got to remember. If the world wasn't like that, if there wasn't people, right, that were like that around, there wouldn't be much flavour in the world, would there? Everything would be straightforward and everything would be boring. There's got to be a difference. There's got to be flavour in the world. It's completely bloody mad. But I just love it. I need to comment, right? Where you are in the world. Where do you live? What country? What's it like? Because different parts of different countries and different planets, they have different mannerisms, different people. Like Americans, by us British, are sometimes considered as being rude. But that's just the way they are. A lot of Eastern Europeans, to us British, are rude. But that's just the way they are. In them countries, it's normal. And being, how can I say it? I suppose jealousy, envy, and all that kind of stuff. Here in England, it's considered unattractive and not good. But I'm curious. I love philosophy and I love the way that humans work, and anything, any brain, anything like that works. I'm a people watcher. I love just, when you go to the town, I love just watching people. What do they do? How do they walk around a shop? What makes them think I'm going to pick up and buy that? What makes them think I'm going to sit on that bench right there, you know? You get people that avoid the benches with pigeons all around them. Avoid them like a plague. And then you get other people, like me, I'll happily go and, in fact I'll probably pick to go and sit on that bench surrounded by pigeons and seagulls because I find it quite peaceful. So I want to know where you live, and I want to know like what country you live in. Don't have to give me your full address, I'm not interested in that. But tell me what country you live in and what is normally accepted, you know, in them kind of ways, you know. Is there a lot of jealousy and envy? Is there a lot of destruction where jealous people destroy other people's stuff? Or does everybody just have things and they're just happy and grateful for what everybody's got? So interesting. I actually measured my frame to make sure these tyres would fit, but I didn't take into consideration the chain. I know, you're thinking, why didn't you? I didn't. I'm lucky, it just fits. If I was to have this in number 2, would be perfectly fine. I might have to ride it in number 2, but it does just fit. The tyre itself isn't quite straight, so it does wobble a little bit. I mean, it's not the wheel, it's the tyre. But that's okay. I normally use 1040 engine oil to oil up my chain, but I've got some. Oh, did I spill it? I'll do it here. I've got some proper chain lube now. I ran out of it ages ago, and me being me, far too tight to buy any more. So I just used 1040 engine oil, which is what I used to use when I was a kid. You know, my dad just used to say, just stick a bit of engine oil on it. So that's what I would do. I can't see where I finished. But anyway, it's important to lube up your chain and keep everything lubricated. This chain and this cassette is pretty worn, but I'm going to keep using it because I'm at the end of my budget. I'm at the end of everything as it is anyway, so we'll just go with it as it is. When they wear out completely, we'll get new ones. Next thing to do is to get a different seat. That seat, I love the look of that seat and I like the way it goes with the bike. I think it goes really well myself, but I think, well, I know it's not very comfortable. It's 20 years old for a start. Definitely is 20 years old. I've had this a long time. I had this seat before I got the boom bike. I think these bikes might come with a similar seat to that, but I know this was one I had on my BMX. Don't know where it came from. Blank. Seats are quite expensive, so I'm going to wait a bit longer, but I am going to get a different seat at some point. But for now, that's that. Just need to get grips. I could go for a ride now. I don't need grips to ride it, but I'm not gonna. It's quite late in the evening, so. But it's fully together, and I can't wait. Happy days, man. Had some people say to me about the price that I paid for things. I don't give prices out. I haven't spoke in any video about any prices for anything. However, there are some people that I talk to quite regularly through PMs. We've bought stuff, swapped stuff and all that kind of stuff. And they say to me, they asked what I paid for brakes and things like that. And it would appear that I could have got them a little bit cheaper and some of the other bits a bit cheaper if I had gone on the internet and had stuff delivered. It still would have been cheaper even with postage, which is mad. But I'm really trying hard these days, especially when I want stuff, to go to shops. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep ordering stuff on the internet. That's like a last resort for me, to order stuff on the internet and have it delivered. I didn't even bother shopping around for hydraulic brakes. I literally went into Corringham Cycles, which is a bike shop which is relatively local to me, and I said, that's what I want. He told me the price and I bought them. Had I known they were cheaper, I would have asked for a price match. But now I definitely will be going in and saying, look, these brakes and a few other things are a lot cheaper elsewhere. I'm sure they're good shop and they will give me some kind of discount on some other stuff. But that's the thing sometimes, you know. You do have to shop around, and the moral that I'm trying to give you is, if you find something cheaper on the internet, don't just instantly go and buy it on the internet. Go down to the shop which is local to you. If they haven't got it, or if they've got it but it's more expensive, just say, I found them on the internet a hell of a lot cheaper, exactly the same as what you've got on the shelf here. Will you price match? And if they are a reasonable shop, they will. They will price match. If they can't price match because they'll lose money, they're not a good shop because they've bought the stock in the first place too expensive and they've been ripped off themselves. So they will be able to price match. Anyway, you lot, thanks for watching. Don't forget, put in the comments, I want to know, I'm so interested, where you live, what's accepted as far as normal manners and things like that. As I say, here in England, we're not really accepted of envy and all that kind of stuff. Thanks for watching, take care, I'll see you later. Oh, P.S. You'll be surprised, a good old wipe over with an oily WD-40 rag will do. I haven't finished yet, but it's coming up absolutely brilliant. The amount of people that don't realise that WD-40 ain't just for oiling and driving out water. It's fantastic at cleaning. It even says there that cleans and protects. WD-40 is the one. I use it for everything. And people always say, that's just for water displacement, that ain't no good. Nah. Listen, it oils, it protects, it gets rid of water, it drives it out of things, and bloody well cleans, my friend. Give your bike a good old wipe over with a WD-40 soaked rag, and you'll be surprised how clean it gets, and it'll stay clean because the dirt won't want to stick to it anymore. And it also protects it from rust, but if it's painted it won't rust anyway. If you've got bare metal, give it a wipe over with a bit of WD-40. Fantastic stuff. See you later, you lot.